Ask him where he's at. Ask him where he's at.
Where'd you sit? Where you at?
In Mexico.
Hey guys,
Where you at, Randy?
I'm in Mexico.
He's right there. What you done?
All right, it's 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call tonight's special poll. I'll let the record reflect we do have a quorum. Again, we are no longer blessed with James Mayberry's presence, but we do have 4 council members, and still miss the guy, but we'll go through this. So we're in public comment at this point, and it looks like we've got 3 people that have registered. Let me just list you all off first, and then we'll have you come up. We've got Randall Kidwell. I've got Jacob McGonigal. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then I also have John Murray.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wishes to address council? We'll just have you pre-fill out if that's the case. Just you 3? Nobody else? Okay. Well, then we won't have to suspend the rules. That's great. All right. Randall, you want to come on up? He just asked that you come up here so you can be heard. Okay.
I'll try to be brief. Before I came up here, I just got news that the TLDA, the Tennessee Local Development Authority, which is mostly composed of constitutional officers of the state, comptroller, secretary of state. And I don't know if any of you have been, I know everybody's got their place full, and I don't know if you've been following what's going on in Columbia, Tennessee.
No.
Well, it is almost a replica of what is happening here. The city of Columbia has a utility, water and sewer. I don't think they have power. But they're trying to get a new pipeline and intake and move it further down the Duck River because they are running at 92% capacity, the water treatment. And it is a huge project. I mean, we're talking about $500 million. Well, I would urge you, and I know it's a big ask, but it will give you a good idea of what's happening in the state of Tennessee as far as regionalism. The city of Columbia has asked both in June and yesterday to allow them to borrow money from the state revolving fund, and then there's some WIFIA money or something, I think it's federal money, and they have been deferred twice. Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation has already given approval. They've looked at it top to bottom. It's been going on for years. Bill Lee's committee that was formed on the Duck River, they have granted tentative agreement. They have shown that raising rates will pay for it. Okay. But they're still saying, Well, it's indicative of exactly what's going on here. You're being held hostage at the point of a gun. The cities are being shown the door. And they want to give everything to people who've never done anything.
Who'd you say was saying no?
Well, predominantly it's the comptroller. Same guy who sends his people here.
T-Deck, and then the governor says yes, and then they say no.
Well, the committee on the Duck River, it was formed because of the problems with the duck.
Right.
You know, and so those people are essentially saying, yeah, we don't have any choice here. But like I said, even T-Deck has said, look, this is the way to go. But I'll leave you with this thing. I probably shouldn't say it, but there's an old saying that everybody hates a dictator except their own.
So you're saying they want to move it, just one more quick question, down further, something deeper or something?
Yes, deeper, more water. But what is the sad part is, it's in 2 projects. One is to increase the capacity of the water treatment plant. Well, they gave them okay to do that, but the intake itself, which sucks the water out of the river, is at 93% capacity. So you can increase the capacity of your plant, but you can't suck the water out fast enough. And then they're holding up the moving of the intake further down the river. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, next up we have John Murray.
It's, I've been doing a lot of research on data centers for the last several weeks. And I could talk about the problem for 34 hours. I know I don't have enough time. So I'll give you some of the lowlights from other states that are dealing with this problem. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, back in February, a rare multi-drug resistant bacterium called Capreolidus showed up in the city's reclaimed water system that is used to irrigate parks and other green spaces. The source was traced back to a wastewater discharge during construction of a Meta's data center. It was filled and flush operation. The city revoked the contractor's discharge privileges. The contractor must now environmentally dispose of the wastewater itself. The closed-loop water operations must use chemical treatment to prevent corrosion. The water must be flushed out of the closed-loop systems on a routine basis, and the water is considered industrial or toxic wastewater. According to the Tennessee Star, there have been 3 Mississippi residents near the Tennessee border that have filed a lawsuit that seeks class action status against the Elon Musk AI company alleging negligence by establishing natural gas turbines that have created a public and private nuisance because of the noise. Residents in Michigan and Wisconsin are also taking action, court action against data centers in their respective cities. There is a massive AI data center in California's Imperial Valley is suing for access to the Colorado River. They claimed before the data center was approved that they would not seek any water from the Colorado River. However, now they are suing to get up to 260 million gallons of water a year for that data center. And I'm sure you're all familiar with the data center problems in Nashville, near the Nashville Zoo. This situation will probably end up in court also. And Erin Brockovich, I'm sure y'all know who Erin Brockovich is, and her team have developed a map where data centers are currently located, where they are being developed, and where they are proposed. I took the liberty of contacting the Erin Brockovich team and told them about the 2 Bitcoin centers here in Crossville. Both of these operations give off way too much noise, and I'm not sure how they got approved in the city, but I'm sure the people that live close by to those Bitcoin operations are not pleased. Another billionaires and trillionaires that control SpaceX, Meta, Amazon, OpenAI, Google, Silicon Ranch, and many others do not care about what we the people think. The greed, the misinformation, and the almighty dollar is what they care about. I ask that you please consider a permanent, and I mean a permanent, ban on data centers in this city. We need to preserve Crossville and the Cumberland County farmland for future generations. There is not a single human being who needs AI to survive. However, every living creature on Earth needs clean air and fresh water. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, I live less than a mile from the Bitcoin, and I'm not saying for against it. The most noise I hear on Sparta Highway is sirens, you know, ambulances.
And lights, there's a lot of lights out there on
But I don't hear it. I sit out at night and I don't hear it. And going back to the water, the data centers, according to who you ask in Crossville, some say we're out of water, some say we got plenty of water. If I was an AI data center builder, I wouldn't want to build in Crossville if we ain't got enough water. It's just trying to think common sense here, but
these billionaires and all like that, they don't care. They just want to keep putting more data centers in, and they just want to get richer and have more power over the people. And the data centers are really surveillance centers anyway.
Thank you, John. Jacob McGonigal, come on down.
who are the city council members here?
Pardon?
So you guys, city council, you guys are all city council? I want to speak on behalf of the generation that I represent, which I don't see many of us here, but I think that there's, I think he laid a perfect segue into this conversation. There is an ecosystem impact here that is, I think, what's under the focal point for us to consider data centers here. But I think that we should be considering in this 24-month moratorium, I think that we should be considering other things. And first I want to introduce myself. My name is Jacob McGonigal. I'm the Director of IT at an enterprise multi-state national healthcare organization. I also founded and run an MSP that provides security services and IT solutions to many of your neighbors probably. So, I've spent time in the military in IT. I've taught in community colleges, and now in my broader experience, I've worked directly with AI and AI contributors, AI tools. And my biggest question for us to consider is why we need the data centers to begin with. We have revenue through tourism. We have a beautiful country here. We have Flat Rock that's going to be bringing in probably millions and more in revenue. My concern is, like the gentleman before me said, they're not just data centers. They're processing data. They're processing your data. They're compiling and contextualizing your data constantly, and it's only going to, like, there's nothing. So here, let me give you something for a frame of reference. We have many data centers already in Tennessee. Most of those draw between 20 and 30 megawatts of power. The one that's going in Memphis, that's XAI's data center, draws 1,500 megawatts, which is many, many, many times over. So my question is, what has changed in the last 5 to 10 years that we need this amount of data processing or data storage other than the collection of and the compilation of your own data? I don't think that there's a person in this county that likes these things. You said you don't hear the one on 70.
I don't.
If you're standing next to it or in Kroger's parking lot or anywhere in that shopping plaza over there, you can most certainly hear it. I can hear it from the doors of Kroger's parking lot. And to answer your question, the reason why it got passed in the city limits is because it doesn't reach a decibel threshold. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's what we were given by the news media. But I think that there's also, it's not just a decibel reading, like a loudness reading, but what about a consistency? The fact that it never shuts off.
Yeah.
It's never off. That thing runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's not going to turn off. And I don't think that, and in my professional career, and in my opinion, I don't think that these investments are long-term solutions. I think that they'll go bust. And I think that the industry is headed that way, and we're putting money and infrastructure and time into our community that is, frankly, a waste of time. And I think it works against our own personal and best interests. So.
You kind of compare it to windmills.
Worse. Yeah, windmills won't compile data against you.
I'm talking about going bust.
Green technology is probably more sustainable in the long term than AI.
There's only one in the city, so I don't know anyone else. All right. Anyone else wish to address council this time in public comment? This is your time. Okay, we'll move out of public comment and go into other business. This 1A, discussion and action regarding approval of SRO grant application and contract. It's coming from the Finance Department. Police Department, specifically Chief Brooks, request approval to apply for an endowment grant from the state of Tennessee in the amount of $300,000. The grant is specifically to pay for SOR officers. Again, this is just for us to approve the application and contract.
I move we approve this.
Motion is second. Any questions or discussion for Chief or anyone from Finance? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now go into 1B, discussion and action regarding approval of a resolution declaring vacant council seat. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, we did lose Councilman James Mayberry earlier this month. We have to pass a resolution declaring that this council seat is vacant so that it can then be put, if I'm not mistaken, onto a special election, which will coincide with the November election, correct? And we have the attached resolution that's required. Anything else you want to add? No? This just honestly will give Jill Davis, the election commissioner, to go ahead and file this with the state and put that onto the election for November.
I move we approve.
Entertain that. Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now go into 1C, discussion and action regarding appointment of Crossville City Council. With the loss of James, we based off our charter and reviewing conversation with MTAS, and then I think we had also reached out to some state officials to give us some feedback, right? Because our charter is not real clean and specific on this. We can choose to fill the position or not. It would be just for the 4 remaining months. So do you all want to do that or not? Because it's up to you all. There's no interest in this.
If it was longer, in memory of James, 4 months, if it was a year or so, I just don't know if we need to fill it for 4 months.
I agree with that.
How you feel about that, Chief?
I agree, certainly. I think and realizing that it could result in some 2-to-2 tie on things for the next 3 or 4 months. But I think it helps. I think it helps honor his efforts. I think his was an elected position. I certainly feel that an appointment has the potential to give an unelected advantage. So I would agree that if our charter does indeed allow us to not fill it, I would suggest we don't fill it.
Just 1 second here. And I have no interest of filling the seat. So if that's the case, then we'll, in honor of James's memory, we'll not fill that position for the remaining 4 months at this time. Does there need to be a motion for that?
I move we do not fill the seat.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now moving on to 1D, discussion regarding matters relative to the water assets transfer referendum action. This is coming from Councilman Fox. What is yours?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I just, as it draws closer to the time of the referendum and the importance of that, I feel that if, based on the referendum outcome, that if council action is needed or desired based on that outcome, that we as a council not take action until we've had 3 date-posted public hearings for exchange of information and community input. And I make that as a motion. I think this is that important of an issue.
So you
So
want
basically an ordinance instead of a resolution.
Well, I just think 3 public hearings gives the community an opportunity to weigh in and let us know their thoughts, because the referendum that will be on the ballot is not asking the voters, do they think we should join the water authority? My understanding is it will be worded saying, do you, the public, the citizens of Crossville, give this council the authority to transfer assets should the council think that's the appropriate thing to do? So I think we need to hear from them. Again, according to what Mr. York has told us, if 51% of the voters say no, we do not give you authority to transfer assets, then we would not need the public hearing that's done.
So what are you concerned about, just to play devil's advocate? That council would vote against what the referendum wanted, or that? Because ultimately, if the referendum 60-44 or 60-40 against, then council would then do the bidding of what the voters want, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, please, Randy, if the majority of the voters vote against giving authority to transfer assets, then the council needs nor is required to take any action.
If the referendum fails, then there will be no further need for anything.
So you're concerned more than
The
is
city council
that it's
would not
passed.
have the authority to convey those.
So then your real concern then is if it does pass.
My concern is if it does pass, and then the decision rests with council as to whether to proceed forward, I think that's an important enough issue where we need to hear from the public what their thoughts are.
So can we legally bound the future council? I mean, that's, like, literally this vote would then, because there could be a new mayor, there could be new council members, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
How could that be bound?
we had a similar thing, didn't we, when we as a council moved to not do anything on the dam for a year? I think we made a motion and passed that.
Those are, I didn't mean to interrupt, I'm
That's
sorry,
okay.
Councilman. Those are more or less advisory resolutions. When you continue the issue on the dam, it is standard that you cannot pass a resolution that will bind future councils. So if the future council wanted to do it by resolution, they could do that. If they wanted to do it by ordinance, they could do that. The referendum was drawn so that the future council would have its choice to do it either by resolution or by ordinance. And so it will be up to the new city council that will be sworn in, I think, on December 5th. And that city council then will determine how to deal with this issue.
Does that kind of make your motion kind of mute? They could hold us between now until December 5th, but we can't.
I mean, and it's better if I need to make the motion to have the public hearings after the new council's sworn in. I'm fine with doing that. That's fine with me. Then that wouldn't be binding a future council. That would be asking the current council, which I'm fine with that. So if that's the case, Randy, then I will respectfully withdraw my motion, because certainly if he feels like that's binding a future council, that's fine. I'll just bring that motion up after the new council's sworn in. Sure. Very good.
Sorry, did you make a second, though? Or did we just go? Did you make?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Withdraw it.
Yeah, I withdraw my motion.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to 1E now, ordinance adding Title 14, Chapter 12, data centers. This is the second reading, correct, Bailey? Just for those that are unaware, since this is going through the ordinance format, we have to have 3 readings, which Councilman Fox kind of alluded, allows for us to have 3 separate public conversations. And so I just want to kind of give you some updates, since there's a lot of people that spoke on it. I want to give you just some summary on what the ordinance is. It's literally running parallel with what the county has done. Again, it's a moratorium, not a complete hard cap or restriction. And that's, for those that are wondering why, that's because we've been advised that also will potentially, if we were to have a hard cap, not a moratorium, that we would set ourselves up for liability and potential lawsuit. And again, trying to save taxpayer money, I don't really want to get in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit with people that have a lot more money than we do. So that 24-hour moratorium will allow for us to work with our planning commission, county, and their planning commission, and make sure that whatever we decide, it's a collective effort, so that we don't have the county being one thing and the city being another.
You accidentally said that.
You bet 24 months.
24 months, sorry. I'm trying to help all some strikes and also give you guys the quick and dirty. Thank you for that. I knew we kept you around for a reason. But some of the things that we're already kind of looking at, what you have already brought up, is noise standards, water conservation, and making sure that we don't overtax utility infrastructure such as electrical and even other things. So I think it's a good conversation. I want you to understand that the things that have been brought up today and have been brought up other places and other times, we're hearing you. We're not going to set you all up for failure. Regarding the data centers, that was something that was approved, 4 years ago, I believe, through the Planning Commission and Council. But at the time, it was structured as a temporary structure, and we don't have zoning in this community. There's some benefits to that, and there's some issues with that, but with not having proper zoning in here, there's only so many things that we can do to restrict. So it's a balance between private, you having your private property and over-regulation and other things like that. So, but we have learned from this, and we'll make sure that we right the wrongs, and we have heard what you all have said. I think.
Mayor, do you know if VEC's even stepped into the conversation or even saying we can furnish this much or we can't?
We've not had any complaints or issues from them. So, and they're not afraid to speak up, so. But I still think it's important that we address that and we put the guardrails in place, because it may
Yes.
not be an issue now, but if it continues, but
Correct.
I don't think anyone here wants a massive data center, hyperscale as they say it, so I think we're all on the same page. Thank you all for being here. I made some notes. Have you all had a chance to read the tentative moratorium and what we're adding?
I have, and I've talked to Mayor Foster himself, and I've come up with a solution, but it's gonna have to be statewide, the next governor, and we're gonna have to get in front of Cameron Sexton, Paul Bailey, and whoever the next governor is to solve this problem.
So we have 2 years to kind of figure it out, but that's above my pay grade. When you said the word governor, I done kind of.
If Marsha Blackburn gets in, it's a no-go, because she's.
Agreed. I got you. So I just want to let you know that I know I read on social media after Freebie Media made their publish, there were a lot of confusions and misconceptions. Hopefully they'll understand that both the county, I can't speak for them, but the county and the city are taking this serious, and we're going to do what we can to work in tandem. So.
You had something to say?
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, I just have one other thing to say. I feel like, again, a lot of the consensus, a lot of the consideration around this is based around utility usage and the ecosystem. But what happened, like right now, they just produced, or I can't remember the name of the company, you can look into it, nuclear fission or micro-nuclear reactors, where it's something that you set up on site, it doesn't touch the grid at all, and they're powering.
Power out of Oak Ridge.
Yeah, and so Mike, I want you guys to consider that it's not always going to be that conversation. Once that reaches scale and those can be mass produced, it's not, the conversation's not going to revolve around how much electricity and how much it's going to affect the water. It's going to be, why do we have these? Why are they?
Well, one of the things I will share just from a conversation, if we're not careful, we'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. So the hospital's concerned with how we restrict that, because everything now is digital, and so you go into the hospital now, your health records are generated on a computer, kept on a computer. If we're not careful, we'll throw the baby out with the bathwater. Those are servers. And then you have a surgeon, I mean, you probably can talk more about that. You pull up your file, I know I pull up files. We want to make sure that we're not doing that. So we just got to make sure we find a sweet spot, right?
Okay, robotic.
Or even with banking and that stuff, so yeah.
I just want to say one thing, Mr. Mayor. I just read an article the other day, I put it on Facebook. There was a supposedly, I forget the term, sandbox. I don't know if it was OpenAI. They were supposed to be, essentially isolated. Well, this AI broke into the internet and then invaded another AI and were stealing trade secrets. There's a it resulted in a bipartisan bill in Congress right now for a kill switch, to where you can turn this stuff off. You know what came to my mind? Terminator.
Yeah. Sorry, you had one more thing, and then we'll move on, so we don't.
Well, what was that? The woman in, I think it was a Terminator, was thrown in jail because she was, I can't think, Sandra O'Connor or whatever? No. No, it's,
I'm sorry. I'm not watching Terminator in 20 years.
she was thrown in jail because.
Oh, Sarah, thank you, Sarah. Again, I know why you keep me around. Like pop culture, this guy is the pop culture king. Well rested. Sorry, anyways, yeah, sorry.
But anyway, she was thrown in jail because she was trying to stop the AI. Of course, this was back years ago before AI is AI now, to stop AI from kind of snooping on the people and stuff like that, getting all their information. But,
all right, well,
that's basically where we are now. Aaron Brockovich is kind of taking the lead right now for that.
That's all right. So I need to make a motion to complete the second reading for ordinance adding Title 14, Chapter 12 of the data centers.
Make that motion. Go ahead, Art.
I'll move we approve.
Motion second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll move that into the third reading, I'm assuming in August. Next up, we have 1F, ordinance amending fiscal year 25-26 budget for end-of-year adjustments. Necessary to make sure that we get everything wrapped up now that we've had complete expenses and collections and all the good stuff in, right? Entertain a motion to adopt the year adjustments. And this is the second reading as well.
I move we approve.
Motion and second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.